What is a first-class function in JavaScript? When functions can be treated like any other variable, then those functions are first-class functions. There are many other programming languages, for example Scala, Haskell, etc., which follow this, including JS. Now, because of this function can be passed as a param to another function callback, or a function can return another function higher-order function. Map and filter are higher-order functions that are popularly used. What is Node.js and how it works? Node.js is a virtual machine that uses JavaScript as its scripting language and runs Chrome's V8 JavaScript engine. Basically, Node.js is based on an event-driven architecture, where I/O runs asynchronously, making it lightweight and efficient. It is being used in developing desktop applications as well, with a popular framework called Electron, as it provides API to access OS-level features such as file system, network, etc. How do you manage packages in your Node.js project? It can be managed by a number of package installers and their configuration file accordingly. Out of them, mostly use npm or yarn. Both provide almost all libraries of JavaScript with extended features of controlling environment-specific configurations. To maintain versions of libs being installed in a project, we use package, .json, and package lock, .json, so that there is no issue in porting that app to a different environment. How is Node.js better than other frameworks most popularly used? Node.js provides simplicity in development because of its non-blocking I/O and even-based model results in short response time and concurrent processing, unlike other frameworks where developers have to use thread management. It runs on a Chrome V8 engine, which is written in C++ and is highly performant with constant improvement. Also, since we will use JavaScript in both the front end and back end, the development will be much faster. And at last, there are ample libraries so that we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Explain the steps how control flow controls the functions calls. Control the order of execution. Collect data. Limit concurrency. Call the following step in the program. What are some commonly used timing features of Node.js? Set timeout, clear timeout. This is used to implement delays in code execution. Set interval, clear interval. This is used to run a code block multiple times. Set immediate, clear immediate. Any function passed as the set immediate argument is a callback that's executed in the next iteration of the event loop. Process, next tick. Both set immediate and process, next tick appear to be doing the same thing. However, you may prefer one over the other, depending on your callback's urgency. What are the advantages of using promises instead of callbacks?
The main advantage of using promise is you get an object to decide the action that needs to be taken after the async task completes. This gives more manageable code and avoids callback hell. What is fork in Node.js? A fork in general is used to spawn child processes. In Node, it is used to create a new instance of V8 engine to run multiple workers to execute the code.
Why is Node.js single-threaded? Node.js was created explicitly as an experiment in async processing. This was to try a new theory of doing async processing on a single thread over the existing thread-based implementation of scaling via different frameworks. How many types of API functions are there in Node.js? There are two types of API functions: asynchronous, non-blocking functions, mostly I/O operations which can be forked out of the main loop; synchronous, blocking functions, mostly operations that influence the process running in the main loop. What is REPL? PL in Node.js stands for read, eval, print, and loop, which further means evaluating code on the go. List down the two arguments that async.q takes as input. Task function concurrency value. What tools can be used to assure consistent code style? ESLint can be used with any IDE to ensure a consistent coding style, which further helps in maintaining the codebase. What is an event loop in Node.js? Whatever that is async is managed by event loop using a queue and listener. We can get the idea using the following diagram. So when an async function needs to be executed, or I/O, the main thread sends it to a different thread, allowing V8 to keep executing the main code. Event loop involves different phases with specific tasks, such as timers, pending callbacks, idle or prepare, poll, check, close callbacks with different FIFO queues. Also, in between iterations, it checks for async I/O or timers and shuts down cleanly if there aren't any. Differentiate between process.nextTick and setImmediate. Both can be used to switch to an asynchronous mode of operation by listener functions. Process, next tick. Sets the callback to execute, but set immediate pushes the callback in the queue to be executed. So the event loop runs in the following manner: timers, pending callbacks, idle, prepare connections, all data, etc. Check close callbacks in this process, next tick method. Adds the callback function to the start of the next event queue and set immediate method to place the function in the check phase of the next event queue. How does Node.js overcome the problem of blocking of I/O operations? Since the node has an event loop that can be used to handle all the I/O operations in an asynchronous manner without blocking the main function. So for example, if some network call needs to happen, it will be scheduled in the event loop instead of the main thread, single thread. And if there are multiple such I/O calls, each one will be queued accordingly to be executed separately, other than the main thread. Thus, even though we have single-threaded JS, I/O ops are handled in a non-blocking way. What is Node.js streams? Streams are instances of event emitter which can be used to work with streaming data in Node.js. They can be used for handling and manipulating streaming large files, videos, MP3, etc., over the network. They use buffers as their temporary storage. There are mainly 4 types of the stream. Writable. Streams to which data can be written, for example, fs.create_write_stream. Readable. Streams from which data can be read, for example, fs.create_read_stream. Duplex. Streams that are both readable and writable, for example, netsocket. Transform. Duplex streams that can modify or transform the data as it is written and read, for example, zlib.create_deflate. Hit the like button and subscribe for more.